The holidays are supposed to be about family, warmth, and togetherness, right? Well, for me, this Christmas turned into a chilling lesson in familial disrespect and the true meaning of financial dependence. I had been looking forward to spending Christmas morning at my son David's house for months, planning the menu, buying the perfect, expensive gifts for my grandchildren, and just soaking in festive chaos. But when I called him a week before Christmas to confirm my arrival time, he casually informed me, "Oh, Mom, we weren't really expecting you this year. We're having a small, low-key gathering. Maybe next year." I paid their entire mortgage, every single month, and I had been doing so for 5 years. The mortgage payment that was due on the 1st of January, I canceled it instantly. Was I wrong to hit my son's sense of entitlement where it hurt the most, in his wallet? Or was this the only way to remind him that financial support is contingent on basic respect? Tell me if you would have done the same thing, because the silence in my house now is deafening. To truly grasp why this simple phone call led to such a catastrophic, life-altering decision, you need to know the backstory of my family and this mortgage. I'm 68 years old, and my life has been defined by hard work and sacrifice. My late husband and I built a successful small business from the ground up. When he passed away 10 years ago, he left me well provided for. My son, David, is 35. He's a decent man, intelligent, and he works in a stable, but not high-paying middle management job. His wife, Emily, is lovely, but she has a very expensive taste and a strong, though often subtly conveyed, sense of entitlement. They have 2 wonderful children, 8-year-old twin girls, Chloe and Maya, who are the absolute lights of my life. I adore them. When David and Emily bought their first home 5 years ago, they were absolutely thrilled. It was a beautiful, 4-bedroom house, perfect for raising a family. But the reality of the mortgage, property taxes, and maintaining the lifestyle Emily desired quickly became a huge financial strain for them. One evening, about 6 months after they moved in, David came to me, looking haggard and defeated. He confessed they were struggling, barely making ends meet, and talking about selling the house because they couldn't manage the massive monthly mortgage payment. My heart broke for them. I cherished that house. It was where my grandchildren were growing up, where we had celebrated so many milestones. I couldn't bear the thought of them losing it, so I made a faltering promise. I told David, "You keep the house, and I will pay the mortgage every month. Consider it my gift to you, my investment in your family's future." The payment was substantial, around $3,500 a month, transferred directly from my retirement account to the bank on the first day of every month. I set up an automatic transfer, and that was that. David was overwhelmed with gratitude. He cried, hugged me, and promised me he would never forget this generosity. Emily was equally effusive, showering me with thank-you notes and invitations for dinner. For the first year, things were great. I was included in everything. I was invited to every family gathering, every holiday, every school play. I was the beloved matriarch, the generous benefactor. But as the years passed, a subtle shift occurred. The gratitude slowly faded, replaced by an expectation, a quiet sense of this is just how things are now. The invitations became less frequent. When I would call, they'd often seem hurried. Emily, in particular, became distant, treating my monthly $3,500 contribution as an invisible utility bill that was simply taken care of. I continued paying without fail, never missing a deadline, because, ultimately, I was doing it for Chloe and Maya, for the stability of their home. I lived for those moments with my grandchildren, and being present in their lives was my reward. The real tipping point, the event that led to the Christmas Eve massacre, happened just a few weeks ago. David's parents, in-law, Emily's parents, retired and decided to move closer to their daughter. They bought a lovely, albeit much smaller, condo just 10 minutes from David's house. David and Emily, apparently, had offered to host them for Christmas, and the planning started to revolve entirely around Emily's side of the family. I noticed the lack of communication, but I tried to be understanding. Then came the phone call, just 7 days before Christmas. I was finalizing my travel plans, confirming my train tickets, and looking forward to buying the turkey. That's when I called David. "Hi, sweetie, just checking to see what time I should aim to arrive on the 24th. I asked, my voice cheerful. There was a pause on the other end, a pause that lasted too long. "Oh, Mom," David finally said, his voice flat, "you know, we actually weren't really expecting you this year. We decided to keep it really small, just Emily's parents. It's just, we want a quiet holiday. You No, too many people is just stressful. Maybe you could come in February. We're busy with the in-laws all week." The words felt like tiny shards of ice, sharp and cold. Asterisk, we weren't really expecting you. Asterisk, it wasn't an oversight. It was a deliberate exclusion. They were excluding me, the woman who had kept the roof over their heads for 5 years, in favor of their other set of parents, who had contributed exactly nothing to their housing security. The sheer casualness of the dismissal, the suggestion that I could maybe come in February, was the final, crushing blow to my dignity. It wasn't just about Christmas. It was about the utter lack of respect they had developed for my contribution and my presence. They treated me like a burdensome guest they had forgotten to turn away, not the generous parent who was the silent co-owner of their stability. I hung up the phone without another word. The cheerfulness was gone, replaced by a seismic wave of quiet, powerful fury and heartbreak. I sat there in the silent room, staring at the calendar, where December 25th was circled in red. The realization hit me. They truly believed they were entitled to my $3,500 a month, with no expectation of basic courtesy or inclusion in return. They had taken my generosity and transformed it into a mandatory payment, completely severing the emotional tie that justified the expense. The next mortgage payment was due on January 1st. I knew exactly what I had to do. So that's the situation I was in, sitting alone in mid-December, realizing I had been erased from my own family's most important tradition, all while footing the bill for the house they were celebrating in. I had to make a choice. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have let the payment go through, or would you have pulled the financial trigger? What does basic respect truly cost? I didn't hesitate. I walked straight to my computer, logged into my bank's website, found the recurring transfer labeled David and Emily mortgage payment, and with a single click, I deleted it. Not delayed, deleted. I then sent David a short, emotionless email. It read, "Dear David and Emily, as you mentioned you weren't expecting me for Christmas this year, I have taken the liberty of adjusting my financial plans accordingly. Please be advised that recurring mortgage payment scheduled for January 1st has been permanently canceled. You will need to make the payment yourselves by the due date. I wish you and Emily's parents a low-key, stress-free holiday." I closed the laptop, feeling a strange mix of nauseous panic and cold, hard satisfaction. The emotional tie was gone, and now, so was the money. The reaction was immediate and volcanic. About an hour later, my phone started ringing, vibrating so violently it nearly slid off the table. It was David, calling relentlessly. I let it ring. Then came a series of hysterical text messages from Emily, who had obviously seen the email first. "What is wrong with you, Mom? You can't do this. That payment is due in 2 weeks. We don't have that kind of money." Her texts were filled with capital letters and excessive punctuation, a sharp contrast to the calm, dismissive tone David had used earlier. When I finally answered, it was a group call with David and Emily, and the conversation was pure chaos. David's voice was high, pitched, oscillating between panic and wounded outrage. "Mom, what is this email? This isn't funny. We have the kids' Christmas gifts to pay for. We can't suddenly come up with $3,500. I cut him off, my voice dangerously calm. "I think you misunderstood, David. That money was my gift to your family, and part of the implicit agreement of receiving that gift was that I remained a cherished, respected part of your family's life. When you casually informed me that I was an unexpected, burdensome guest who wasn't even welcome for Christmas, you broke that agreement. You treated my love and my money as entitlement. Respect is not free, David. Since you decided I wasn't worth the effort of a Christmas invitation, I decided my money wasn't worth the effort of the transfer." Emily then jumped in, screeching about how I was ruining Christmas for the girls and how I was being cruel and controlling. I corrected her firmly. "No, Emily. You ruined Christmas when you prioritized a low-key gathering with your parents over the woman who has paid for the roof over your children's heads for 5 years. The mortgage payment is your responsibility now. My money is now free to enjoy a stress-free holiday alone, just as you requested." I ended the call right there. The next few days were hellish. They tried everything, pleading, crying, tripping me with the grandchildren's supposed devastation, which was entirely fabricated, as the children didn't even know I had been uninvited. The core of their panic was that they truly could not afford the payment. They had become so financially complacent and accustomed to the $3,500 saving every month that they had lived well beyond their means, having not saved a single penny for this inevitable expense. They called every family member to complain, making me out to be the heartless villain who suddenly turned off the tap right before the holidays. My sister even called, gently suggesting I might be overreacting. I simply explained the situation. They were happy to take the money, but not to share the holiday. She fell silent. The ultimatum finally came on December 23rd. David called, his tone entirely defeated, no longer arrogant. He admitted his cruelty and apologized, a real, tearful apology this time, not just for getting caught, but for the fundamental disrespect. He told me they had tried to borrow the money, but couldn't get it in time. The house was truly at risk. I let the silence hang for a moment, letting the weight of the potential foreclosure settle on him. Then I told him my terms. I would make the January 1st payment, but only to save the house for the girls. However, this would be the absolute last payment I would ever make. Starting February 1st, they were entirely on their own. Furthermore, the $3,500 I had just paid was now a loan to be paid back over the next year with a written repayment schedule. And the biggest change, I demanded a written, signed agreement that guaranteed my unrestricted access to the grandchildren on all major holidays and at least one weekend a month. Without needing an invitation, I was reclaiming my place not as a payee, but as a respected family member. David agreed immediately. The aftermath is still settling. I spent a very quiet Christmas alone, but it was a peaceful, dignified quiet, free from the stress of their entitlement. They did invite me over on the 26th, and it was the most awkwardly polite family gathering we have ever had. Emily was subdued, and David was overtly solicitous, almost too much so. The money is back in the bank, pending their repayments, and the automatic payment is truly gone. The house is safe for now, but the mortgage is now entirely their burden. They are stressed, they are scrambling, and they are finally living within their means, making the financial sacrifices they should have been making all along. Relationship with my son is rebuilding, slowly, with much more respect and clear boundaries. Jessica and Mark realize that generosity is a gift that can be revoked, not a permanent tax. So that's the whole messy truth. I put the potential foreclosure of their home on the line to teach them that respect is the currency of family support. Was I too harsh? Did I leverage my financial power unfairly? Or was this the necessary, painful shock that finally dismantled their sense of entitlement and saved them from future financial ruin? Like this video if you were on my side, subscribe for more stories like this, and please, share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comments section below. I'll see you all in the next story.